When you're ready.
Yeah, we're recording. We're good.
Oh, okay.
Didn't you click the button that said yes, we're recording?
I'm only on my first cup of coffee. You can eat all the dicks today. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Behind the Booth. I'm Jade, and with me, as always, is my award winning producer, Heather.
And on this channel, we talk about wild stories from Comic-Con vendors because if you don't know yet, I don't know what are you even doing here? Are you brand new? Hello. Nice to meet you. uh, Jade is a Comic-Con vendor. She has created her own thing. She goes to cons all over the place. She's showing off her t-shirt. It looks like a Hellfire Club t-shirt, but it says Amazing Con, and it's just adorable. I love it so much.
And
And that
it's a
was in
little
Las Vegas, you said?
Triceratops.
A
Yes.
triceratops. Oh my gosh, I'm like, why does it look slightly different? I'm trying to figure out what does it actually look like? It's not the little demon, it's the little triceratops. Very cute. But so we go to a lot of conventions. Jade has her own product and she has a booth and she's been all over the country and we have just figured out ways to do this well. And today is actually kind of from the flip side. And so Jade can speak to this. I can speak to this because I have been a consumer at these events a lot, probably even more so than I've been a vendor with Jade. So we're going to talk about that side of things. So Jade, take it away.
This is something that's really kind of personal to me. Communication is very important. And as somebody who's studied other languages and gone to school for anthropology and, taken so many classes on culture and communication, this is something that actually speaks to me really loud. I was at an event this last weekend and there was this person next to me and she just had the most beautiful art. Her art almost looked like stained glass. But she had put them on pins and bookmarks and posters and things like that. And she specifically did Star Wars stuff. So she did a lot of Padme, the Natalie Portman character, and Hayden Christensen. She did almost all of her stuff was that. She had the occasional Ahsoka and Leia, but it
Oh,
was primarily those things. And she does really well when those people are at these events. When Hayden Christensen was at one of the events, she sold out like crazy. She's met him. So there's a big connection for her with that art style. And somebody had come up to her saying, "Wow, this is really cool. You should do Lord of the Rings stuff." Now,
okay.
to most people, that may not be a big deal. That may not be a big deal at all. But consider it this way: if you're a chef and you specialize in Italian cuisine, you don't want somebody coming to your restaurant and saying, "You know what? Your food is really good, but you should really open a sushi place. I would love to see some avocado in some rolls here." That's kind of the closest thing I can compare it to, because if you want to see something different, we'll obviously keep shopping. But if you like what an artist does, instead of telling them, and keep in mind, artists tend to rebel against a lot of things. That's why we're not accountants, well, other than most of us suck at math. It's why we're not, doing a 9 to 5 type of thing, is because we naturally rebel against the system because we don't fit in. And there's nothing wrong with not fitting in. Bitch, I don't fit in with anything, and that's cool. I've owned it. But we are not going to want to be told what to do. There's a few things that come with that, like we need to be inspired. And that's going to sound very oh my God, it's so snowflake. You have to be inspired. But we really do have to have the inspiration to make something, to come up with something, because it's coming out of thin air. It's coming out of nothing, is what we're making something out of. So we have to be inspired. B, we have to be able to do it and do it well, because a lot of us have standards that we have to fulfill. We're not going to sell something, even on a dress, that we're not proud of, that we're not,
Hmm.
because it's our label, it's us. It is truly a piece of us and our brand that we have to stand behind because we are professional artists. And see, you need to pay for it. You need to be willing to pay for that custom thing you want. So instead of saying to an artist, here's the language that I recommend. Instead of saying you should do this or have you ever done this, ask, do you do custom work?
Hmm.
And a
Oh,
lot of artists will be like, yes or no. So it tells you right there to shut the fuck up. If they don't do custom work, don't keep prodding them. Don't keep pushing them toward that. Buy what they have if you like their work. If they do, which I have several friends, including myself, that do custom work, will say, yeah, it depends on kind of what you're looking for. And that has opened the conversation to asking us for what you want.
mhm.
Some artists, like myself and another friend, will say, yes, absolutely. Our custom work starts at $50. But depending on what you're looking for, it could be as much as 300. So we've already told you you're going to pay us for what you want because you're asking for something special and that we do it, but it will probably take extra time and money. And are
Yeah.
you willing to part with that?
Yeah.
So, if that is something that we're open to, yes, absolutely. If it's something within our wheelhouse, so for example, I do a lot of the pride pins, but I obviously don't have every single flag. I have most of them. I actually
You
get
have
that
more
compliment
than
a
I
lot.
have ever seen. I've never seen
Yes, a
that
lot of
many different
people
flags in one spot.
will come to my booth and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you have so many flags," or "I haven't even heard of half of these. Thank you for representing." Or if I have represented one that's very unusual, and by unusual, I just mean not commonly available to purchase just off the rack like that, they'll thank me for like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for having, Demi Girl. Nobody ever has it, blah, blah, blah." And at least there I know that they're being included, and that makes me feel good on the inside, like the caramel gooey level that I have, like, deep, deep, deep down inside. So, I had somebody come up to me and ask for puppy, the puppy flag, and I didn't know what that was, and there's nothing wrong with not knowing as long as you educate yourself. Ignorance is not a crime, continually and choosing to be ignorant is. So I said, "No, I don't know what that one is. Can you show me a picture?" That's what I always ask. "Can you show me a picture?" Because if they show me something, I might be able to make it. And they showed me the puppy flag, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I have the materials for that. I can make that one for you custom. I actually have everything I need here. Do you want me to make it in front of you? I can do that for you." And if I felt the need, I could say, "Yeah, it's a custom piece, so it'll be $2 extra, or it'll be 20 instead of 10 or whatever." But I had everything there. I'm just gonna make it in front of them. And so I said, "Yeah, I can do it for 10. How does that sound?" They're like, "Oh, that sounds great." So, I received the money first before making a custom piece. That's very important to have them at least prepay for a portion, half, or at the very least your materials. So I took the payment. I made it right in front of them exactly how they wanted. And then I handed it over to them and told them, "Hey, the glue is still setting, so, don't throw it across the room, and the magnet piece is still attaching, so, give it about, at 3M is what I use for the magnet backings. They usually say give it 24 hours. I say 48 just in case somebody can't tell time, which is like a legitimate thing. Time blindness is for sure a thing. And so I'm like, "Yeah, just don't wear it until Monday," or whatever I happen to say to them, give it to them in a bag. But if somebody came up to me and said something like, "Can you make Legos?" I'm like, "Bitch, do you see any fucking Legos? No, I can't make
Like if
fucking
I
Legos.
could, I
This is what
would,
I have.
and they're not here.
This is what I." Yeah, I have people all the time telling me like, "Oh, you should make like." I did actually have somebody that, ask me to make Legos. They're like, "You should make some Rick and Morty stuff. You should make some Hufflepuff stuff. You should make." I'm like, "Okay, well, first of all, what I make does not fall under parity law. What I make are custom pieces for things that are license free. Otherwise, I have to pay Disney. I have to pay, Adult Swim. I have to pay these people for the rights to use and repurpose the stuff." And I've talked about this, I think, before on one of the other, episodes that sometimes at the bigger events or even some of the smaller ones, representatives will be there on behalf of those companies dressed or not looking like anything special, and they will go through and write down your business, your booth, and then they will send you a fine
Or a cease and
if you
desist.
do not have. Sorry?
Or a cease and desist.
Basically, yes, they will tell you, "Stop doing this." I know plenty of people that have been kicked off of Etsy for not having those qualifiers, and there's a way to get licensed. I cannot answer how to do that. I know some people that have done it, and they've done it very effectively, but I know it's expensive. And it's one less expense that we need to worry about unless you think you can make up the difference. And that's a whole other conversation to have. So, when talking to artists, it's very important to come from a place of requesting, not demanding.
Mhm.
Because the thing is, we can tell you no. We can tell you to fuck right off. This isn't Starbucks. We don't have to serve you. And technically, neither do they. But we don't have to deal with your bullshit on what you want or don't want
Yeah.
unless you want to pay for it. And then those of us who are willing to do it will absolutely do it. We'll absolutely happily exchange your money for our skill.
Yeah.
So the next thing to make sure that you do is if you have an interest in someone's art, compliment it before you start asking us for shit.
Mhm.
If you want something special, like I have, my little bracelets with the little guys on them, the charms that are
Mhm.
different animals, and people like that my bracelets glow in the dark. It's the weird thing. It was the thing that I thought would be cool as fuck. And so other people see it, they're like, "Oh, I never even thought to put glow in the dark beads on a bracelet. That's brilliant." I was like, pretty sure I
Thank
didn't
you.
know that I know that. Thank you. I feel
Thank
smart.
you.
And I have people that are like, "Oh, I really love your bracelets, but I don't like this charm." And that's okay. I received it's like the what is it they teach you in management? Like you say something nice and you say the criticism and you say something nice again, the sandwich.
A sandwich.
Like, yeah, you're pre-sandwiching me, which is fine. They'll be, "I really like this, but I don't like this." Like, "Okay, no problem. I can remove it for you. Would that work?" They're like, "Oh yeah, that'd be great." Again, receive the money. It's a custom thing. Accept the money first. And it's so easy for me to take them off because I give them a little bit of extra string. And I cut it, retie it, put it on their wrist, thank them for their time, and move them on. And then they also say, "Thank you so much for doing this custom." I get a lot of kids too, like tiny kids with those itty bitty wrists that don't look real because their bones haven't formed all the way. And my bracelets are made to fit me, like my size and smaller. And I'm a size extra small in gloves, FYI. I have done some things that I know appeal to people like I have a lot of stuff that's like bear. Bear people tend to not be small people. They tend to have bigger wrists. So that stuff I'll make obviously larger because I know who's going to want it. But with these little kids, they'll come up to me and say that they want it, and they're like, "Oh, well, we can't get that for you, sweet pea. It's too small, or it's too big." And I'm like, "I can make it smaller." They're like, "Really? You'll do that?" Like, "Yeah, sure." Um, Now people have tipped me and given me extra money for doing that for them.
And
I
keep in
accept
mind,
it
it's always
graciously.
easier to make things smaller than to make them bigger. So maybe err on the bigger
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, and I mean, my tips go to nonprofits. So I always like, yes, thank you so much for tipping. And I tip, when I expect things to be done, especially when I want something special. And I do this all the time when I go to restaurants with my husband because he has so many food allergies. I tell people off the bat, I'm like, "Listen, we are going to be difficult. I'm so sorry up front. If the food isn't done to the way that we requested, he can die of anaphylactic shock, so we will have to send it back. But I promise I'll make it worth your while." And then I place my order. Just kind of giving them the preliminary of we might carry you, but it's not because we're being dicks, it's because he will die. And that's, basically, and he hates sending food back. He feels so bad. And I'm just like, I don't want you to die. I'll fucking send it back. I'm like, I'll do the big smile and the big eyes, and then they'll accept the food back. Because we don't want to be dicks. But yeah, it's definitely a thing to ask. If you ask for something, be willing to pay for it. I really have to hit that home. But yeah, I'll resize things for kids and make them happy because again, we've said this before, it is about the experience that we're providing to these people, these attendees. We have a responsibility to them, but they also have a responsibility to not treat us like they own us because they don't.
Well, and I have a few thoughts on that too. Um, like that first story that you told about the ladies or whoever saying, like, "Do you do Lord of the Rings stuff?" Like, from her perspective, I can see, I love your style. She should have said that first. I don't know if it's a man or woman. I don't know why I keep seeing
It was a
she.
man, and he said
It's a man.
you should do Lord of the Rings, and that's the word that you got to listen for.
Yeah.
Should.
Yeah. Well, and even from that perspective, like he's saying, I love this style, but I'm not really into Star Wars. So
Mhm.
I would, but he, there are so many better ways to do that. But like Jade said, have you thought about, or like, do you do custom pieces? I love that because that gives you an easy, an easy transition because then you can say, do you do custom pieces? I would love something in Lord of the Rings. And if they're like, no, I don't, then you would be like, oh, I really love your style, but I'm not a Star Wars person. You can like bring them into
Mhm.
that conversation and be like, do you know anybody that has a similar style that does Lord of the Rings? Not that you want to like be like, I want to buy from somebody else, but also these artists don't want you to buy something that you're not gonna like. You know,
Yeah.
it's a much I've talked about this before. In the movie Miracle on 34th Street, one time Santa says, "Don't go to Gimbel's, go to Macy's because they
Mhm.
have the toy that you want." And then all the moms are like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever." And then they all start shopping there because like you're putting their needs ahead of your own, which
Right.
like you do need to do to a point. Like obviously, don't run yourself ragged because you're doing what everybody else wants and not what you want. But
Mhm.
like there's ways to do this. And so when you are a consumer and you're just out there like Keep in mind how much time and effort these people have put into everything that they do, and
Mhm.
how insulting it can be to be like, well, it's not exactly what I want, so I'm going to give you attitude and demand something that you don't actually make. Like that's the dumbest thing ever. And you'll see people like that in any store. You'll see that in a Walmart, like so you're definitely
Mhm.
going to see it at Comic-Con at these booths. And so like don't be that guy.
Yeah. And a lot of the artists know each other, especially if you have similar designs. I bring her up a lot, but Raquel has pins. She has the enamel pins and she has stickers. So sometimes I have people come up to my booth and ask, "Oh my gosh, I love this. Do you have it in a sticker?" Which stickers are coming soon, by the way. Keep your wish list open. But I tell them, no, I don't. But I do know two other people that have stickers. I have a friend that does boba tea pride stickers, and I have another one that does cat stickers that are pride, and I can direct them because I generally know where they are. Or at the very least, I pull up their Instagram and let them follow them there because we tend to show at these events, "Hey, everybody, I'm at this event and I'm at this booth, and you can just find that fucking information." So we do recommend each other, which is another reason to get along in the community, at least in a cordial way. You know, you don't have to be best friends, but you at least have to be polite. So, absolutely, there's no harm in asking after you found they don't have what you're looking for if they know of someone who does.
Yeah, and it's really that easy. Just don't be a jerk. Don't try to demand things. Don't say,
Yeah, you see that all the time, Heather, don't be a jerk.
like, for real though. I mean, it should be one of the simplest things in the world, but I feel like you do have to remind people like and think about what you're saying because you may not be trying to be a jerk, but I don't know, with artists and booths, like you guys do like grow a thick skin because things do happen, but it's so deeply personal, the stuff that you have made. And so like
Yeah.
even if you're not trying to be a jerk, think about what you're saying and like just be kind. Oh my goodness, I just feel like Cinderella. Be kind, be brave. I don't know, whatever her whole motto is, but like it's so easy to do that and just to make everybody's experience it, enjoyable. And so just, think about what you're doing. Think about what you're saying.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this topic, and a special thank you to Nerdy Girl Podcast for producing this episode. See you next time.